Recognize the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Joyce.
Thank you, Chairman, for allowing me to waive on to this hearing today. And thank you, Secretary Raimondo, for coming back to the Hill to testify again. Secretary Raimondo, both you and Assistant Secretary Davidson have testified before various congressional committees that you are deferring to the states in the administration of the BEAD program and not forcing states to rate regulate. Just last year in December, Mr. Davidson assured this committee that you would not engage in rate regulation and that you would, and I'm quoting, embrace the sort of laboratory of democracy. Let different states approach this in different ways, unquote. In fact, last month, you testified in the Senate that the Department of Commerce is, again, I'm quoting, not in the business of rate regulation. Despite these statements, we have heard repeatedly that this does not align with the reality that's occurring on the ground. You have approved only a small number of state plans, all of which appear to regulate broadband rates by adopting a specific price for broadband service. We've heard from numerous states that NTIA is requiring them to specify rates for various broadband offerings in order to receive that final approval of its initial proposal. Multiple broadband offices have told us that the pressure from NTIA is real and that the threat of losing funds was too great not to give in to these demands. Some states have also complained that you, specifically, Madam Secretary, are calling their governors and demanding that the state comply with NTIA's direction on specific price points for low-income and other broadband plans. You said to Senator Kennedy just last month that you're, quote, pretty hands-off on this, unquote. Congress never envisioned NTIA circumventing the explicit prohibition on rate regulation by implicitly conditioning NTIA approval of these plans on such regulation. I'm very troubled by these developments, especially in light of your and Mr. Davidson's prior sworn testimony to this committee that the NTIA was not engaging in such pressure tactics, which are prohibited by the IIJA. So I'm going to ask you once again, will you assure me and this committee that you and your staff, number one, cease these pressure tactics, number two, approve state plans that do not set a specific price for low-cost broadband plan or for certain service tiers, such as symmetrical gigabyte service, and third and finally, you will reject state BEAD plans that propose to mandate such price regulations.
So I will again testify and promise to you we are not engaged in rate regulation. The statute is crystal clear. Every state must provide a low-cost option. I did not write the statute. I will implement the statute. The statute is crystal clear. That is referenced throughout the statute. By the way, you referenced Senator Kennedy. His plan has already been approved. Louisiana's been approved, no problem. I think we're up to almost 20 states have been approved. We are not slowing this down. We are not using, as you say, pressure tactics. But the truth of it is, as I have said numerous times today, the internet is not a luxury. It is a necessity. And every state is free to decide what is low cost. How much does it cost to lay fiber over a mountain range or in a rural area? It'll cost more. I'm not going to tell them, $20 a month or you're not going to get your money. But I am going to hold their feet to the fire to make sure they follow the statute and have a low-cost plan.
Are you calling specific governors, asking them that their states comply with NTIA's direction on specific price points?
No, but I'm doing my job. A lot of these governors are dragging their feet, and I'm saying, we want to get this money out quickly. Please get us your proposal and work with us so that we can get the money out the door. I am not calling anyone and saying, you have to do this cost. What I am saying is,
there are no cost specifics that you're directing to any individual state regarding the implementation of the BEAD funds.
No.
Thank you. My state is one of those states. I represent South Central Pennsylvania with many hills and valleys, with many nooks and crannies, with many hills and hollers, which
Yes.
make the laying down of fiber impractical. We need an all-of-the-above approach to be able to successfully roll out this BEAD money, and the success of this program hangs in balance. And I am deeply concerned that the NTIA's heavy-handed rate regulation requirements, among others, will push this program towards failure, leaving the rural Americans that I represent in South Central and South Pennsylvania without that necessary broadband access, without that connectivity for the farmers, for the teachers, for the patients who need to connect with their doctors. I fear that the concerns of what we have discussed here today have not been adequately answered without that firm commitment that there will not be heavy-handedness directed towards those who are trying to comply, who are trying to utilize this BEAD money successfully in
Gentleman's
areas
time.
throughout America. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My time has expired, and I yield back.